What's going on, everyone?
It's Whataweeb.
And today, we are wrapping up something pretty fun, reviewing it as well. A full series that we watched in 2 days. Yeah, 2 days. An end of an entire arc of Owarimonogatari Part 2. A 3-episode, or you can consider it a 7-episode if you're AniChart or AniList, because technically it's as long as a 7-episode.
Anime list.
My anime list. It's as long as 7-episode anime. And
technically, it did say 7-part, like 7 different episodes.
Yeah, 7 different chapters. It did say that. But I know, but it's technically released as 3 episodes. But anyway, so before we focus on this season specifically, the Monogatari series itself is a pretty unique series. I don't think I can ever think of something that's similar to it at all. Encompasses the life of a boy, Aragi Koyomi, who turned into a vampire one fateful summer long ago, and he meets this grand vampire who he ends up making a contract with. And over time, he starts taking care of the problems in the town because all these apparitions, also known as Kai or monsters, show up, and he helps the people who get possessed by them. Very interesting series that has a lot of mini arcs that all come together to create this great overarching story. It could be super complicated at times.
At times.
It's not.
At times, he says.
Look. Arguably, it's in my top 5 a lot of the time. This series, just because of how I love complex stuff, and when everything comes together, I'm just like, oh my god, wow, that is amazing.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Mm-hmm. And don't get the humor too. The humor is great in this story too. Like, they have these random moments of just him and certain characters with the humor, and then the undertones. It's great.
The toothbrush scene.
We won't talk about that.
The toothbrush scene.
We won't talk about that. Just keep going.
Rest in peace, August 14th.
Just keep going.
We will never miss that. We will miss that forever.
Okay, yes.
But yeah, Owarimonogatari this season starts off in the second part. So if you guys have not watched the past season, I would highly suggest you guys do. Otherwise, you end up being slightly lost. And so we are in hell. Is where we start off in the first episode. And we don't know it's exactly hell. We just see that Araragi is just in the middle of what looks like a park. It looks very similar to where he first saw Hachikuji, but lo and behold, Hachikuji decides to show up and reveals that it's not the same park, and it reveals it's hell, and how she got sent to hell, and how he actually showed up to hell, and he starts remembering how he ended up getting to hell because Guy performed a ritual to send him back, to kill him so he can have a reset of his vampirical state. But all that gets covered in the past season, so I shouldn't have to go over that. As well as it gets slightly mentioned forward when after the little tidbits and comedy sketches that Hachikuji and Araragi had, they end up meeting with Tatsuru, who is a former enemy, and becomes I don't know what he ends up being at this very last moment. I'm still I have mixed feelings. I think he ends up being very useful, and we learned a little bit more about Oshino Meme, but he basically sums up a lot of what happened in the last season, and then tells Araragi how he's going to get revived, and then not the most surprising thing for him.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty wild. Araragi himself doesn't even want to really be revived. He starts thinking about, do I deserve to be revived? It's a typical thing for him. He rather look out for other people. He doesn't really care about himself as long as the people around him are safe and okay. So he doesn't really value himself like all the people around him do. So he starts being like, I don't know if I should be the one revived. There could be someone else who deserves it. I'm kind of cutting in line here. He's kind of breaking the rules. So Hachikuji straight up just goes and attacks him because she's been helped by him. Everybody's been helped by him. And now they want to help him back. And if he doesn't go back, this is all pointless. There was no point in doing any of this because they need him. They need him to do this. And Hachikuji just thinks he's being kind of not selfish. Yeah, selfish in a sense because he needs to get this done. This is his job to fix this problem. I feel like everybody kind of knows what's going on except for Araragi, to be completely honest, this season. But it's a nice little aspect of it, which gets referenced later on, the fact that he doesn't really care for himself. But this first moment kind of makes him realize that, he should step up. He should kind of just do it. and leads up to everything that happens on later. So he does accept the snake sword coming down to grab him, but before he goes, he freaking feels so, he feels bad about Hachikuri. She doesn't deserve to be in hell. The only reason she's in hell is because she died before her parents. So he grabs her and brings her up with him. Everybody's super surprised. Even Guy, the omniscient one, is super surprised that he was able to bring her back too. And yeah, that's kind of the first episode. He goes through hell. He gets sliced up by Guy, and then they explain the last season, like Nestor said, and he brings back a little lolly with him back up. So,
the best comedy sketches come from Hachikuji. I don't know what you're talking about.
The best animation sequences come from Hachikuji.
I'm trying to think of...
Like when they change animation, it's just like the super cartoony ones. I'm just like, I'm done. I'm just like, this is good.
She definitely has become one of my favorites. But going off that, next episode, our next two chapters, I guess, is a nice relationship building session between Senjougahara and Araragi, where the first words that came out of Senjougahara's mouth after she greets Araragi is like, "Oh, I've been gone for so long, I forgot to act like myself," and I thought that was very fun and cute. And she sets up a date, and not only a date, but a date to make up for the last 6 months kind of date. And it ends up being on White Day, and that's a pretty important day because as a guy, you're supposed to repay all the Valentine's gifts that you received to the females that gave it to you during that year. So a very important kind of couples moment during that time. And then overall, the interactions this episode were great. Senjougahara and Araragi's reaction, and wow, I said that wrong. Araragi's reaction to Senjougahara being able to drive now was really funny, because she was like, "Oh, I'm not doing anything because I was gone for 6 months, so I might as well. I was bored out of my mind. I thought I was going to go insane." But this episode didn't only focus on this relationship.
Yeah, no, it focused on a bunch of stuff, and I know that the car thing is more of a Japanese humor because, fun fact, high school students aren't allowed to drive. So that's probably why they were like, "Oh my god." But they end up going to the planetarium. They have little date moments, but they both fall asleep. Well, Senjougahara, quote unquote, falls asleep. She was just resting her eyes. But
she was waiting for him.
Yep, Araragi definitely falls asleep, and lo and behold, he has a crazy dream sequence with, guess who? Oshino Ogi. I thought that was a great sequence. It was crazy. The animation was wild. We get some development between them. They start talking about what's right, what's wrong, using the constellations as a reasoning tool. They start talking about the universe and how Ogi is saying that I am the law of, she's the law of the universe. Which kind of makes us still go down the line of the fact that she is the darkness. But there's also some leeway there because she is talking to Araragi and explaining her side of it. Lo and behold, though, Monogatari series style, it's super weird. It's a super out of the way to explain things. They start using the constellations and immortality, for example. It's just like, okay, you could just say, who's wrong, who's right, and then just have a discussion. But no, we gotta bring the stars, the constellations, because you're in a planetarium, so why not? But my bad, rant aside, Araragi does wake up after this conversation, and the date begins again. The date starts again. They leave the planetarium and they start playing games. Senjougahara putting the stipulation of the loser has to do one thing the winner says. Araragi keeps winning. At one point he doesn't even know what to ask for, so Senjougahara tells him, "Princess carried me back to the car," and I was just like, oh. But eventually,
she did expend all her energy bowling.
That's true.
That's understandable.
That's true. And it's karaoke too? Yeah, karaoke as well. Where Araragi beat him by like 3 points, and she was like, "I got a B minus."
I thought it was decimals. I thought it was decimals.
Oh, well, it might have been 3 decimals then. And she was like, "Oh, getting a B minus, so this is what it feels like to be Araragi." And I was like, "Oh my god, that's so not right." But their games end, and finally they're heading back. But Araragi didn't get anything for her on White Day, because if you watch the previous season, he's been going through a lot of stuff. He has had very little free time. So she says it's okay, but then realizes, I can use this. So she speeds up and pretends to act furious, and pretty much manipulates him into getting him to do one thing she tells him to, which is what she would have been trying to do the entire day. And she's wanted them to call each other by their first names, which is very cute, very nice, you know. Shows their status as a couple. In Japan, it's a big deal to call each other by your first names. It shows like a different level of familiarity. So I thought it was pretty nice.
Hitagi. Beautiful. Beautiful. But yeah, after they part ways, Araragi is now walking home, and guess what? Ogi decides to show up out of nowhere. And she thinks she's being all considerate because she only interrupted his date once. So that was quite annoying, and she decides to bring up the question that was brought up during the dream and figure out if Araragi has figured out if what he was doing was right or what he was doing was wrong, and he didn't have an answer at the time. He was like, he just stood silent, and then the prepping for the fight against Ogi was something that they discussed about, where Ogi was like, I'm gonna need your help for this. I want you to be on my side. And because she's gonna fall for a trap, because no matter how much she tries to plan for it, Gain is just too far ahead. So she has to plan for the trap itself and hopefully overcome it. And Araragi is like, I cannot give you an answer of whether or not I can help you out. And then she also explicitly states that she is not the darkness, and it's sort of that
threw us off, man.
That threw me off for a long time. I paused the video during that time. I was like, what do you mean you're not the darkness? That was the entire first season, and at least at the time, I wasn't super confident what it was going to be, so I was left at the end of the episode sort of confused, trying to figure out what was going to happen, because the entire last season foreshadowed her being the darkness. But yeah, overall, this episode, the second episode, didn't show as much information, but I liked how they decided to finally give Senju Gahara a lot of limelight after her being gone for too long. Too long.
Very true. But moving on to the last episode now, it's the preparation for the battle. Just know this, guys, though, when it comes to Monogatari, battle rarely means full-out fighting, epic fighting. I think Kizu Monogatari is literally the only one that had an epic, like, final fight type scenario.
What's it called? There was one.
There was one, the Kanbaru one I know too, but like he was kind of just getting bodied until she realized.
No, I was talking about Hamekowa. She had a.
Oh, Neko Monogatari.
No, not in. Was it Neko? I don't remember.
I think it was Neko.
She was. Yeah, she was brought. That's what made Hamekowa's highlight. Her have to dye her hair. I can't remember which one it came in, but that was a serious fight where Hamekowa had to fully accept the cat spear. But anyways, that's a side note.
A different video, different thing for a different time. Alright,
good fight, by the way.
Yeah, great fight. We already know that Ogi is not the darkness, and Gaien just further emphasizes it. She asks, first of all, what do they all want? You know, what is their goal? What is Hachikuji's goal? What is Araragi's goal? And what is Shinobu's goal? Now that they're all fully ready, you know, what do they want out of this? Gaien is a very omniscient character if you are not familiar with the series, so if you are, though, and you know about Hanekawa, she's literally Hanekawa on fucking steroids. Literally knows everything and anything and can plan for anything. It's stupid.
She's a crazy fighter, too.
Yeah, she's also a top-tier fighter. It's not fair.
She's overpowered.
Yeah, she really is. But, you know, it's great to see Gaien just do her thing, though. She's a very matter-of-fact character. She doesn't really have inflections in her voice. She just says things straight up. So that's always appreciated to have a character like that in any anime. But, you know, so the plan. So, the plan pretty much is, now that they actually were able to bring Hachikuji back, they don't need to make Shinobu the god of the shrine anymore. Because Hachikuji being a snail, which is related to a slug, which is the enemy of a snake, lets you become the god of the shrine without being taken over by the snake. Very complicated stuff, yes.
I didn't know that whole, like, trio until they reminded me of it.
Yeah.
Slug, Toad, and
Snake. Yeah, freaking Naruto.
I don't understand how Slug beats. I don't understand how Slug beats Snake, but that's
It's whatever. It's some Japanese stuff. Maybe we'll do a Topic Tuesday on it someday.
Probably should have done it.
Yeah. So yeah, we get some more backstory on the whole situation from Guyan, like how the shrines were made, why the park became a park instead of the shrine. Not super important information for what's going to happen, but it's a nice setup. I really like the Monogatari series because it doesn't just be like, alright, here. There's always a reason for something. There's always an explanation behind something. Even if it's given later on, there's always a reason, which helps the viewer accept it more, I guess.
Besides the comedy sketches. Nobody understands why the toothbrush scene ever happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everybody accepts it, though. But moving on, and that's what we'll take from here.
Yeah, besides the fact that everything is always given for a reason, Guyan wants to bet on Araragi to win this fight. So she starts telling him about her sister, or Kanbaru's mom, that Araragi is really similar personality-wise, thus she is wary of what Araragi is. But because her sister had fought and defeated a similar apparition, she knew that Araragi would be the best bet. That apparition, I guess, would be the best word for it, I guess.
Yeah. Oddity, Kai, monster, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of names.
Yeah, so that Guyan's sister's oddity. God, that's so like indirect. Was there a name for her? I don't remember.
Yeah, there is. I just don't remember her name.
Okay, but anyways, that thing was made out of her emotions from herself, the Rainy Devil. So she had to state its true name, and after stated its true name and was pretending it to be something else. Once Guyan's sisters recognized it was herself.
It's some Persona 4 shit, okay? Just, you are me, I am you, and from there she can kill him. There you go. That's it. It's very complicated.
That's it.
It's very complicated.
And that's their plan. Yeah, Monogatari doesn't always have a final epic fight scene, but unlike Kizu, it's truly much like Kizu, it's truly epic. It's tragic. It's tragic and it's surreal how they fix their problems.
There's rarely a truly happy ending in Monogatari. It could be positive. I would never use happy, I think, because there's always something else that's gonna happen later.
I thought this one was relatively.
Yeah, it's because of the graduation. I could give it that. This one was relatively happy, but
I think Suki Monogatari was a relatively happy ending too.
Might have been. I don't remember. I think Suki I watched a long time ago. But anyway, back to this. The Monogatari series is very vast, guys. So if we go and start talking about other versions of the series, it's because it's related to this in somehow. So we're sorry, but it just happens. But Ogi, going back to Ogi's not the darkness. What the heck is Ogi then? Huh? What is she? Who is she? If she's like the Rainy Devil in the sense that she's somebody's apparition. Whose apparition is she? It's Araragi's. The part of himself that he hates and wishes to get rid of his doubts. Literally, Persona! I just want to say that. Like, come on. It's like he doesn't want to accept this part of him, so it became... Okay, moving on. He's had many doubts over his time helping people. Every positive thing he's done for somebody, he always, thinks about the negative. Be it, an inferiority complex, or maybe they would have been better off if he never did anything. Maybe he thinks maybe he's taking advantage of their weakness. He starts thinking about all the bad in him, and... everything kind of led up to this, though. It's a truly sad story. The Hachikuji and Hell scene, which we mentioned earlier, led up to this. Is the fact that he doesn't think for himself. He always thinks about other people, and then thinks about the consequences for himself, rather than saving himself. Which, not a super uncommon trait in a lot of heroes, but...
a little extreme.
A little extreme. It's kind of like a Shiro from Fate type of scenario. But either way... He realizes that, what he wants out of the situation, he just wants to protect the people around him. Hachikuji's ready to become the new god of the shrine and fix the pocket issue. The pocket is what was causing all the Kais to come into town. And Shinobu, now that even though she's at her full form again, she just wants to go back to being with Araragi. Over these last couples, they start off with having literally no relationship, but they get really close. And they really rely on each other a lot. It gets to the point where he's like, if you were to die tomorrow, I'll die with you. And if you choose to live tomorrow, I'll live as well. It's a very serious relationship, but not in the sense of romantic. It's more of just they really get each other. I really love their relationship.
Yeah, I really like it as well, and I like how he decides to make the point of like if you go into the mountains, there's no donuts up there, so
yeah, later on
they'll never be apart from that.
Yeah.
But anyways, before the final fight, we see Tsukihi. She is, for whatever reason, with Sengoku and fixing the manga, and I think that's completely stupid because I don't care for Sengoku. But we start learning more about Tsukihi's audit apparition and learning more how Araragi loves her. And the phoenix within inside Tsukihi has fused with the embryo and how that happened.
That was Nisei Monogatari, so...
Yeah, that happened in Nisei. Nisei. So, after telling Sengoku she doesn't know what she wants to do, by Tsukihi is who the she is, she wants to do, but has figured out that they should just talk and head out. And then right when she was leaving the house, she sees Ogi, which, weird coincidence. Probably not. Ogi was probably stalking the fuck out of her because she was the trap. She was the trap that caused it all, and Ogi acknowledged that the trap had to happen. So Ogi is like, I'm your older brother's kohai, so let me give you a ride back home. And Tsukihi is like, okay, whatever. And she starts going all Titanic mode and standing behind the bike, which I thought was really weird.
Very dangerous. It's already weird that she's on this person's bike that she doesn't even remember meeting.
I don't think they ever met.
Yeah, she's like, did I meet her?
I've heard a lot about you. That's all she said.
Yeah, and then Tsukihi says in her mind, did I meet her yesterday? Because Ogi's like, yeah, we met before. And she's like, did I? But Ogi always does that. Yeah,
but they're both Kais. But Tsukihi is loved, even though she is a Kai. And Ogi thinks she, because of what she is, she should not be loved. And it's kind of sad because Ogi doesn't really show emotion. But she probably feels bad as her and Tsukihi, as I continue to pronounce it wrong, discuss different ideas and deep talks, which I find very surprising for a middle school girl. But anyways, they start discussing different ideas and living about how she wants to give up on her erasing her as an oddity, and then they find themselves at the school that got the cram school that we're so familiar with, and Ogi's like, I don't think in her mind she probably thought that she can't win, so she let Tsukihi take the bike and let her go, and then she finds Araragi, and what happens after?
Alright, so she finds Araragi, and then they start talking. I mean, Araragi first says that I know who you are, you're me, pretty much, you're Araragi Koyomi. But then they start talking. They start mentioning about pretty much what they've been through. She was at one point, Ogi even says, don't get me wrong, because Ogi doesn't really change her vocal inflections at all. I'm pleading for my life here. Because, she's about to die. She knows that if her true name is found out, and the fact that she's been, not imposing. Yeah, she's been an imposter for the darkness of all things. A little known fact in the Whataweeb series is that if you're a Kai and you fake who you are, actually, that's considered a problem, and you get corrected by the darkness by getting removed. It's kind of like, don't lie about yourself or you'll die. Pretty rough stuff. But I really did like this conversation. It really just discussed Ogi, and she didn't break her tone at all. It's not like she started to cry or anything. It was just, she was just saying, so this is how it ends, right? I'm going to see who's right and who was wrong. Once Araragi says her name, the darkness does show up and starts absorbing everything, even the walls and stuff.
The ground.
Yeah, everything, literally. So, and after the little debate, she says, Araragi, you were right. Araragi, you were correct. I was wrong. You were right. The way I was going about stuff, I think I did help you grow as a person. I may not have made you a better person, but I did help you grow up as a person. And she's pretty much ready to accept her fate. But our boy Araragi will not accept that. He realizes that he can't lose this. He can't give up on anyone. He has to save everybody. He is a superhero like Shiro Emiya. So he runs towards her as the darkness is about to come down, and I'm like, oh my god, you know, typical Monogatari series. Never what you expect at the end. Pushes her down, losing his arm. Mind you, he is no longer part vampire. He's bleeding out like a fountain. And Ogi starts kind of like, she actually does show emotion in the sense. She's like, you're stupid, you know, like, you're the worst kind of person. You're not even a person. Oh, nobody would do this.
You're not.
Yeah, he's like, you're not right. You know, like you're not right in the head, pretty much.
She also had a little light in her eyes during that time too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So like,
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. You know, this was an intense scene. She had finally accepted everything and believed Araragi was right and she was wrong. So this completely changed everything. But Araragi doesn't even care. He just says, look, everybody has helped me. So if I can't help myself, you know, it would weigh on me. You know, I can't accept that. I have to save. If everybody else saved me, I have to be able to save myself as well. Wild scene. That was great. That twist. I was just like, I knew it might have been a twist, but I didn't think he would like go and save her. And then another twist happens.
And the twists don't stop. Yeah, the twists don't stop here. Mm-hmm. Guess what? They have accepted their fate. Both Ogi and Araragi are like, okay, it's over. Guess who decides to interject their final words?
Character?
The best character! Oshino freaking Meme. He's like, and yeah, he just acknowledges Ogi's being, and while Haneko was said just in time and passes out. And I was like, oh, that's really cute. And apparently, Meme was hiding in Antarctica. Don't know why he was hanging out with polar bears and penguins. Why? I guess he wanted to stay low key and remain as a viewer, as a balancer, just true to his character until the very last second. And he acknowledges Ogi as his niece and the truth of her name. So the darkness was like, oh, I guess this is okay now, and boom, the black hole goes away, and Oshino Ogi is now a real person and doesn't need to be gone away. And Oshino looks at Araragi and is very proud of him. He's like, you finally were able to help yourself. And to Oshino, that means he's grown. A great scene for a guy like for Meme. He just shows up with the dialogue and then leaves. Great character. I really wish we got to see him more, but I think we saw him plenty during the first Monogatari season.
He's the kind of character, though, that, you know, they don't want to overuse because he's so great. He's kind of like a fix-all character, which I get, and I love his personality, but I get, and I really do respect that they don't abuse him. You know, a lot of other series will abuse a very popular character, but that's a different situation for different stories. So they're able to pretty much move on with their lives. They give us a little glimpse at everything that happens right after, before this and graduation. So they show the scene with Hachikuji becoming a god. They show a scene with Shinobu and Araragi having a really nice moment. This is right after he comes back from the fight with his arm ripped off. They're like holding each other, and she even says, "Yeah, I want to become a young girl again, so that we can be bonded together." And this is where they actually say, you know, Araragi's like, "Huh, you think I'd let you go? If you go to the mountains, there's no Mr. Donut there, like Anesta said earlier." And he says, if you want to live for one more day, I'll live for one more day. If you want to die tomorrow, I'll die with you. And then she says, if you choose to die tomorrow, I will stay alive for 3 days and tell your story to any listening ear. It's very heartwarming, moving part. Like, if I had to rank relationships in anime, Shinobu and Araragi have one of the most unique relationships. So, personally, I think Anessa would agree with that.
That's outside of bro, that's outside of romantic. It's just, like, better than parent-child.
Yeah, it's like it's a alliance type thing that turns into, like, a partnership. So that they're lifelong partners, but not married. It's cool. It's cool. But, enough of our staking on that scene, which was one of the best scenes. So Araragi he's moved on from his adolescence. With saving Ogi and saving himself, he's left his adolescence behind. He can now move on into the world as, a bigger self. This whole series was pretty much a growing arc for Araragi before he goes to college and leaves the town to the next people, whoever he leaves behind. They all go to graduation, and they have their cute moments. Graduation is pretty straightforward. They all say their dues. Hanekawa is going to leave right after graduation, and yeah, this is the last part of Owarimonogatari. There's nothing much happened. I really liked how it ended, though. Like overall, great pacing in the second part, at least. Like, unfortunately, we didn't see some of the characters from the first part, but I don't really care. Second part, they do these short seasons really well. Don't know why. There's a bunch of short seasons, so just because this anime looks very long, guys, you don't have to, don't be afraid of that. There are some seasons that are like 4 episodes, like Nekomonogatari. So
some that were 25.
Yes,
the second season Monogatari season.
Bake and Bake's second season are the longest ones, but they're the title. They're the title shows, so it makes sense. But overall, this is the end of, well, not the end. This is almost the end of the final season. So if you didn't know, the books go up based off of the season system. There's like a bunch of different ones: final season, main season, off season, monster season. So this is final season. There's one book left, which I'm pretty sure will probably be made into an OVA or a quick like 4 to 6 episode season that details a character we met back in Owari season 1, which I won't talk about right now. And yeah, I'm really. There's still so many books left for Monogatari, so I don't think it's gonna end anytime soon, especially with its popularity. But this whole episodic season was very important for Araragi, and I really liked how they showed his personal relationships. Instead of just him helping other people, he himself grew as a character. We even see his growth later on in Hana Monogatari, which was released before, but it's weird. The ordering is really weird, but I have nothing else to say. Do you, Nestor?
I think this is a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. I give it a 9 out of 10 just because I really love Monogatari. God dang. But anyway, this has been Durko.
This has been a Nestor.
And Sayo, nada.
Nada.